Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Soul Shift Messages. If you found your way here, trust there's something in this message for you. Understand this space is about growth, truth, and transformation. We don't bypass here, we don't sugarcoat, and not every message will feel comfortable, but it will be honest. I speak in flow, and sometimes that includes cussing. Just part of how the messages come through. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own discernment above all else. Take a deep breath, and let's begin. If you are new here, please know at this time I create weekly content in 3 parts. Part 1 focuses on what needs to be revealed. Part 2 focuses on what needs to be understood. And Part 3 focuses on what needs to be done. What action do we need to take to embody whatever we happen to be discussing for the week? So I'm not going to lie, this is going to be Part 3 for this week. So you're going to, by the time you see this video, you're going to see all available content for the series in the description box below. So if you come in at Part 3 and you're interested in learning more, you can easily find what you're looking for there. So this week's topic is control. So what needs to be done about control? I am calling this message, How Do We Embody Healthy Control? Let's dive right in. Healthy control is something you practice, not something you achieve. Healthy control is not a destination where one day you finally have everything figured out. It is not a permanent state of perfect discipline, emotional balance, or certainty. It is a lifelong practice of continually bringing yourself back into alignment with what is true, helpful, and life-giving. Many people think of control as something they either have or do not have. In reality, healthy control is built through countless ordinary choices made over time. Every decision to pause before reacting, every moment of honesty instead of defensiveness, every willingness to adapt instead of resist, and every act of integrity strengthens your ability to govern yourself. Healthy control is much less about dramatic breakthroughs than about quiet consistency. Character is formed through repetition. Confidence develops by keeping promises to yourself. Wisdom grows by repeatedly applying what you already know. You will drift. Fear will return. Old habits will reappear. That does not mean you have failed. Life continually invites you to notice when you have become unbalanced and gently return to balance. They're saying it's not how often you drift, it's how often you come back to balance that actually matters. Healthy control is not perfection. It is continual refinement. Instead of asking, have I mastered this? Begin asking, what is life asking me to refine today? Where have I become unbalanced? What small adjustment will move me back toward wisdom? What needs to be done? Build healthy habits instead of chasing perfect outcomes. Make small, consistent improvements instead of waiting for dramatic change. Regularly examine whether your actions are being driven by wisdom or fear. Treat every challenge as an opportunity to refine your character. Babies, they're saying no one's ever truly finished. No one's ever truly finished. And they're saying that's not a challenge. That's not something you're meant to conquer. They're just saying, from their point of view, they're saying they consider that a fact, which makes it an invitation for you to always be open to adapting, adjusting, staying flexible. I'm hearing taking in that which is useful and releasing what no longer is. I don't know why, but I just heard be like Gumby. Be like Gumby. So maybe Gumby is significant for you. Oh, don't do that to me. Babies, if you don't know who Gumby is, please just Google it and don't tell me. I'm really not that old. Don't do that to me. Just if you don't know Gumby, Google it, okay? Oh, build conditions that allow growth. Healthy control is not about forcing growth. It is about creating the conditions where growth can happen naturally. And babies, this is what we are trying to, I'm not going to lie, if you've been watching my series and you've been watching my content for a while, that's really what I'm honestly trying to do, is I'm trying to walk you through how to get to a point where growth just occurs naturally. You don't feel like you're a project that needs to be solved, right? You're a masterpiece that is constantly being worked on, you know? Think of yourself as a success in progress, right? There's nothing wrong with you. Things aren't broken. We're just trying to release distortions, things that no longer serve our greatest and highest good, so that we can just kind of really enjoy our experience, see it for what it is, and make informed based decisions to move forward with, right? Ultimately, with the goal of moving toward better experiences that are more aligned with us. That's really what the goal is here. I don't know who needs to hear that. Many people spend enormous energy trying to make their life unfold according to their plans. And they're saying good luck with that. They actually want some of you to think about how's that actually working out for you. Because I'm not going to lie, energetically, this feels like, I just feel like there are some people who are going to be watching this video who are like, yeah, I've been trying that and that shit's not working. And I just heard exactly. Be mindful of how you are investing your energy in things. I don't know why, but they want me to tell somebody. I feel like someone's on the fence of whether they want to keep watching this or not. And I'm hearing very explicitly, I'm not going to lie, these feel like your guides and your ancestors coming through. And I'm hearing you'll get goosebumps if that's for you. Well, if this message I'm about to say is for you, but they want you to hang in there. They want you to hang in there. And again, I'm just the messenger. Personally, I don't care if you stay or not. That's, up to your discernment, but they're just saying there are things in here you need to receive at this time. They want you to hang in there, even if it's uncomfortable. Let me get back to it. All right. They try to control outcomes, speed up change, prevent every mistake, or remove every obstacle. Yet living things do not grow because they're forced. Think of a garden. Gardens don't care how fast you want things to grow. They move at their own pace. They bloom and they are able to harvest in their own time. They are on no one else's schedule, no one else's time. And if the conditions aren't right, they hit the I'm a head out button. All right. They grow because the right conditions exist. The same is true for people. Growth requires safety, honesty, responsibility, patience, freedom, challenge, support, trust. Healthy control asks, what environment am I creating? Not only for other people, but also for yourself. Are your daily habits supporting growth? Are your relationships encouraging honesty? Does your schedule create room for reflection? Do your expectations allow learning? Yeah, I don't know why I almost said earning. I don't know if that's significant, but it's do your expectations allow learning? I'm not getting anything else about that, so I'm going to leave that right there. The goal is not to manufacture growth. It is to remove what unnecessarily prevents it. Think of it like weeding a garden. Gardening may be significant. Agriculture may be significant. I don't know why that's coming through, but that is definitely coming through, so that could be significant for someone. Very often, the greatest obstacles are not external. They are internal. Fear, distraction, perfectionism, overthinking, self-judgment, trying to manage everything at once. When these unnecessary obstacles are removed, healthy movement often happens naturally. What needs to be done? Create routines that support learning rather than perfection. They're saying the only one who expects perfection is potentially you. That's not going to be for everyone. But if you do know you are a perfectionist, they want me to be very clear. The only person who expects perfection is you. All right? Because they're saying even if others expect that of you, they just want me to say it. Like, those are their expectations. That's not yours to hold. You don't even have to fulfill those. You're not obligated to. They said the only thing you're obligated to do is show up and do the best you can in that moment with what you've got, right? Like, if that's your commitment, again, like, I'm gonna leave that there. Remove unnecessary obstacles that drain your energy. For some of you, that's a big theme right now. If you constantly feel drained, they need you to pay attention to that. That is purposeful. What is draining you? Who is draining you? Be very honest about whether that is something or someone that you want to maintain moving forward. And I'm not saying that to be heartless. I'm just saying that is what they're clearly coming through with. And that is for someone. Use your discernment with that. Focus less on forcing progress and more on creating healthy conditions for progress. Again, remove unnecessary obstacles. Allow things to flow. Ask what needs to be released rather than what needs to be controlled. Again, simplify, flow. Weed your own garden, literally, figuratively. Take that how that resonates. Replace survival strategies with intentional living. Many unhealthy forms of control began as ways of surviving. Hypervigilance may have protected you. Perfectionism may have earned approval. Always helping may have created security. Always staying in control may have prevented disappointment. These strategies often made sense at one point in life. The problem is not that they existed. The problem is continuing to use them long after the danger has passed. Many people unknowingly build their identity around these old ways of surviving. And babies, that's why we need time for reflection. Are these things still necessary? Do they still serve our greatest and highest good? Or do we retire them and thank them for getting us through difficult times and leaving them in the past where they were useful? Eventually, those same strategies begin limiting growth. The question is no longer, what helped me survive? The question becomes, what is helping me truly live? Growth often requires grieving old identities. The one who always rescues, always knows, always protects, always carries everyone else's burdens, never makes mistakes, must always be needed. These identities often feel meaningful because they once provided safety, but they can quietly become prisons. And yes, I said prisons. All right. Healthy control allows old versions of yourself to end so healthier ones can emerge. Babies, I'm hearing you are not who you used to be, and that's okay. All right. Some of you, I just really feel like need time to reflect on what you've been through and actually process it. And I've been here, babies. I have been here. I assure you, I have done this. I know what it's like, and I know how uncomfortable that can be. But sometimes you really, especially after you've been through hard times, you really do need to take a moment to sit with what you actually went through. And as hard as that can be, because a lot of times when we're going through hard things, we don't process the emotions, right? Because we're just trying to get through whatever that is, right? But there does come a time where you have to sit with it and really acknowledge what you went through. And in my case, I just had to acknowledge how fucking hard it was. And I also had to give myself a pat on the back for actually getting through what honestly was hit after hit after hit after hit. Like, I really just had to give myself kudos for the fact that I just did not lay down and just let shit steamroll me. The fact that I kept going, I did what I needed to do, but I also really needed to acknowledge how exhausted I really was and how hard it actually was, the toll it really took. And I just feel like somebody really needs to take that time to really just allow that to come through. You might cry, you might get angry. I don't really know how you're going to handle it. That's going to be very specific from person to person, but sometimes we just really need to sit and acknowledge like what we had to do to get through, and also take a moment to recognize we actually got through it. Sometimes the hardest thing is really reminding yourself and actually believing that experience is done, like you've gotten through the worst. All right, that is significant for someone. Growth is not only learning something new, it is also letting go of what no longer serves you. What needs to be done? Identify old coping strategies that no longer serve your life. Notice when you are acting from an outdated version of yourself. Allow old identities to end without seeing them as failures. Babies, I'm hearing no version of you should be viewed as a failure. Whether you're proud of how you handled things or not, I feel like someone really needs to forgive themselves. And because that's why I feel like this is coming through. They're saying that if you're having a hard time forgiving yourself, they just need you to trust that you handled that situation the best way you could in that moment. And let's be honest, babies, at some point, we all act out of old wounds. Even things we thought that we had healed, things can come up and we can feel like we revert. And you can have that knee-jerk reaction. And again, they really don't want you to beat yourself up. If you've had that moment, it's really about recognizing that there is something still there that needs to be processed. Allowing yourself to process that, right? Reflect on it. See what's lingering. Ooh, my voice. What is going on? Maybe some of you are having a hard time speaking your truth. Maybe some of you are having a hard time owning certain things. Accountability can be tough. I feel like someone really needs to hear that. Accountability can be really tough at times. We're not always at our best. But again, that's why they want you to trust that you did the best you could, right? Because again, if you take the time to recognize what's happening and you reflect on it and you keep, trying to allow what wants to be released and processed to come through, they're saying the chances that you will have that same reaction if it happens, if that situation happens again, is unlikely. I'm hearing the work, the effort is rewarded over time. This is really a time to be gentle with yourself. Honest, yes. Hold yourself accountable, yes. But also be gentle, yes. Yes. So let me get back into this. Replace survival habits with choices that reflect who you are becoming. And babies, you do have influence over who you are becoming, right? Even if it's just, I don't want to be someone who acts in that way anymore. When that comes up, that's still an intention. All right, that can still influence who you are becoming. All right, and again, the intention is a good starting point. You will need to back it up with action. But I'm hearing you're more than capable of doing that, so they don't want you to really worry about that too much. Okay? Let's get back in it. Learn to live with uncertainty instead of fighting it. One of the greatest expressions of healthy control is developing the ability to remain steady when life cannot provide certainty. Most people unconsciously believe I'll feel safe once everything is under control. But life never reaches that point. There will always be unanswered questions, unexpected changes, new opportunities, new losses, new uncertainty. It's just part of this experience. Peace cannot depend upon the world becoming perfectly predictable, because it literally is not. And I'm hearing, and it will not be. That's an illusion they want you to let go of if you genuinely believe that. All right? It must come from your growing ability to meet uncertainty wisely. Trust is not something you wait to feel. Trust is something you practice. You practice trust by taking action without complete certainty, allowing others to make their own choices, accepting that mistakes are part of growth, recognizing that you cannot control everything, yet can still respond wisely. Eventually, your sense of security changes. It no longer comes from certainty. It comes from knowing whatever happens, I can meet it with integrity. That is a far stronger form of security. What needs to be done? Take meaningful action before certainty arrives. Stop postponing decisions until every unknown disappears. They're saying every unknown will not disappear. Accept uncertainty as part of life instead of treating it as a problem to solve. Practice trusting yourself to respond rather than trying to predict everything. Let character become stronger than circumstances. Healthy control gradually shifts your attention away from managing circumstances and toward developing character. Circumstances constantly change. Character travels with you everywhere. The question slowly changes from how do I get the outcome I want to who am I becoming while pursuing this outcome. Success is no longer measured only by results. It is also measured by whether you remained honest, patient, adaptable, compassionate, responsible, humble, fair, courageous. Integrity becomes more important than image. Values become more important than appearances. Character becomes more important than achievement. Eventually, confidence changes as well. False confidence depends upon certainty. Healthy confidence depends upon adaptability. It says, I don't know exactly what will happen, but I trust my ability to meet whatever happens wisely. What needs to be done? Evaluate success by the quality of your character as much as your results. Make decisions that reflect your values even when outcomes are uncertain. Strengthen integrity instead of trying to protect your image. Build confidence through adaptability rather than prediction. Practice discernment instead of over-responsibility. Healthy control recognizes that caring about people is not the same as carrying them. Say it again. Healthy control recognizes that caring about people is not the same as carrying them. Many people confuse love with responsibility. All right. And this can be responsibility for another person's emotions, decisions, or growth, but genuine care respects freedom. You can support someone without rescuing them. You can understand someone without absorbing their emotional burden. You can guide someone without managing every decision they make. Healthy boundaries are essential. And babies, I don't know who needs to hear this. I'm not being guided to go too much further into this. There are boundaries you put in your physical experience. And I'm not going to lie, this is partially that. But for those who know and understand, you'll also know there are energetic boundaries that require refinement too. This is about both of them. If that makes sense, take it. I'm hearing you understand exactly what I'm trying to say. If that doesn't make sense right now, I'm hearing that is okay. You have received the information. That is good enough for now. But yes, there are physical boundaries you put in place in this experience to protect your energy. There are also energetic ones that exist. I'm talking about both at the same time. Take it how it resonates. Boundaries are not walls. They are clear understanding of what belongs to you and what belongs to someone else. Without boundaries, compassion becomes exhaustion. Helping becomes enabling. Protection becomes interference. Babies, protection, for those who don't know, protection can become interference because you're trying to protect someone, but you're actually interfering with their own lesson, which means they're not going to learn it, right? Because you're in there telling them what to do, telling them how to navigate, telling them exactly what to do. They're not learning through that experience. So even though you have the positive intent of protecting them, you can easily interfere and hinder their growth. Why? Because sometimes we just need to go through experiences to really understand where we need to make changes. All right, and this doesn't mean we don't help people, again, that we don't guide them, but people need to make their decisions and hold the weight of making said decisions, whether it was right in your eyes or not. They're saying it doesn't matter. It is that person's experience. And sometimes people do, we don't like it, but some people do need to go through challenges to come out better on the other side, to grow, to learn, right? This doesn't mean we let loved ones absolutely crash and burn. But sometimes people are going to go through periods of struggle to learn. And I'm hearing some of you are watching people repeat things over and over and over again. And if you help them every time and you see them still going through that, babies, that is your sign to stop. Some of you need to accept that you have done all you can for that person and you got to let it go and let the universe step in and help this person learn. I'm hearing that is not your responsibility. Put that shit down. All right. I've been channeling for weeks that this is mind your business season, right? You're going to reassess yourself and others. All right. If it's not yours, I'm hearing don't take it. Don't take it. Okay. Healthy relationships gradually increase both people's confidence, independence, and ability to make wise decisions. If your presence becomes increasingly necessary for someone else's functioning, something has become unbalanced. Healthy influence creates capable people, not dependent people. What needs to be done? Support others without taking ownership of their own lives. Allow people to learn through their own experiences. Set boundaries that protect both connection and personal responsibility. Ask whether your help is creating greater independence or greater dependence. And I'm here and be really honest with yourself. Release the need to be indispensable. Many people quietly build their identity around being needed, being the fixer, the protector, responsible one, the expert, the leader, the person everyone depends on. These roles can begin with genuine care, but if your identity depends on always being necessary, your growth and the growth of others becomes limited. Healthy leadership has a different goal. Its purpose is to make itself less necessary over time. Good parents raise independent adults. Good teachers create independent thinkers. Good leaders create future leaders. Healthy influence celebrates when others no longer need constant guidance, right? The goal is self-sufficiency, right? Self-governance. Your worth is not determined by how many people depend on you. It is reflected in how many people become stronger because of your influence. Again, I think I got this in part 2. I'm just hearing teach them to fish, right? If you have the opportunity to give someone a fish or to teach them to fish, teach them to fish, right? They want me to say what I added in part 2 as well, right? It's okay to stay with them to make sure they actually catch a fish so they're good for that day, but teach them to fish. Help them build the skill, guide them appropriately with that, and then step back, right? All right. What needs to be done? Notice where your identity depends upon being needed. Celebrate other people's growing independence. And babies, I don't care how small it is. Sometimes, and again, this isn't to say to go Pavlov, but it's like sometimes when people are having a rough go at things and they're learning a lot, small positive reinforcement can work wonders. Doesn't mean you have to say it every time. But again, support people's wins, even if they're small, even if it's minuscule in your eyes. Celebrate their wins, especially if you know it's been tough for them. Think about how much better of a world we'd live in if we were more willing to uplift one another as opposed to criticize each other. Judgment is easy. Understanding and supporting could be easier. It's just a mindset. It's a mindset shift. All right. Teach in ways that increase confidence rather than dependence. Measure your influence by how much others grow, not by how much they rely on you. Choose gentle consistency over force. Many people believe lasting change comes from intensity. In reality, lasting change is usually built through consistency. Trust grows through repeated honesty. Discipline grows through repeated choices. Relationships deepen through repeated care. Wisdom grows through repeated application. Healthy control does not need constant force. It does not rely on emotional intensity, pressure, or dramatic effort. It quietly returns to what matters again and again. Like steering a ship, life requires continual small corrections. You drift, you notice, you adjust, you continue. There is no failure in drifting. Failure comes from refusing to adjust. And I'm hearing you have complete ownership of whether you adjust or not. What needs to be done? Focus on steady progress instead of dramatic transformation. Make small corrections whenever you notice yourself drifting. Build reliability through consistent actions. Let patience become stronger than urgency. Babies, they're just saying, like, if you can work this process, that patience will become easier. You will start to recognize just because things appear urgent doesn't actually mean they're urgent. And just because people are presenting them as urgent, I don't know who needs to hear this. They're saying just because people present things as urgent to you doesn't actually mean they're urgent for you, right? I don't know why, but I'm hearing someone say just because it's an emergency on your part doesn't actually mean it's an emergency for me. And for some of you, that may be a boundary you need to think about. All right. Stop spending energy where it cannot create change. One of the greatest expressions of wisdom is learning where your energy belongs. And babies, I gotta be honest, ain't that the damn truth right there? Woo. Many people exhaust themselves trying to control things that cannot truly be controlled. Other people's opinions, the past, every future possibility, how quickly change happens, whether everyone understands them, whether life unfolds exactly as planned. Babies, I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you just let life unfold the way it actually wants to, you may find yourself more pleasantly surprised than if you tried to control it. Some of you are absolutely so focused on trying to control how life unfolds exactly how you plan it, you're actually blocking blessings. I'm hearing serendipitous moments are available if you'll let it, if you actually make room for it. Be mindful with that, babies. Because again, they want me to highlight that's trying to control things that cannot truly be controlled. You're limiting your options. Babies, why would you want to limit options of how things can work out in an unlimited experience? Whether you believe that or not, I've gotten too many downloads to know it is unlimited. It's just a matter of whether you can open yourself up to receive that or not. Some of you really need to make room to let life surprise you in the most beautiful ways possible. All right. Healthy control releases these impossible responsibilities. That energy becomes available for what can actually be influenced. Your choices, habits, integrity, effort, relationships, responses, contribution. Healthy control is not only about doing more. It is also about stopping what never truly worked. Healthy control is not only about doing more. It is also about stopping what never truly worked. What needs to be done? Regularly ask yourself, is this within my responsibility? Can my effort genuinely influence this? Am I investing energy where it can actually create growth? Redirect your attention toward what you can meaningfully shape. And they're saying it really just is that simple. That's it. I feel like someone was expecting more and they're like, no, that's it. That's it. Be careful of overcomplicating things that don't need to be complicated. They said leave that there. Okay. Transform thinking into action. Knowledge, reflection, and planning matter, but none of them can replace experience. Many people become trapped believing that one more book, one more conversation, one more plan, or one more period of thinking will finally make them ready. Often it does the opposite. Thinking becomes a substitute for living. Reflection becomes rumination. Preparation becomes avoidance. Healthy control transforms understanding into action. Clarity grows through participation. Wisdom develops through experience. Many lessons cannot be fully understood until they are lived. That applies to you and to others. Action creates information that thinking alone never can. It never can. Even imperfect action often teaches more than perfect planning. What needs to be done? Notice when thinking has become avoidance. Take one meaningful step instead of waiting for complete certainty. Allow experience to deepen understanding. Let action become the bridge between knowledge and wisdom. Become less reactive and more intentional. One of the clearest signs of healthy control is the growing space between what happens and how you respond. It's that pause. They call it the sacred pause. Instead of reacting automatically, you learn to pause. You observe your thoughts. You recognize your emotions. You consider your values. Then you choose your response. Fear no longer automatically becomes control. Anger no longer automatically becomes aggression. Disappointment no longer automatically becomes hopelessness. Uncertainty no longer automatically becomes overthinking. That pause is one of the greatest expressions of freedom. It allows your values, not your impulses, to guide your behavior. Self-mastery, babies. Over time, your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions begin working together instead of pulling in different directions. It's coherence, wholeness, alignment. Pick your word. This inner alignment creates stability that external circumstances cannot provide. What needs to be done? Pause before reacting. Name what you are feeling without immediately acting on it. Ask which response best reflects your values. Practice choosing your actions rather than being driven by your emotions. Live from inner alignment instead of outer control. The deepest transformation is not becoming better at controlling life. It is becoming more internally aligned. Your thoughts support your values. Your emotions inform rather than dominate your decisions. Your actions reflect your principles. Your relationships encourage growth rather than dependence. Your confidence comes from character rather than certainty. Your leadership comes from service rather than power. Your boundaries protect love rather than limit it. Your trust grows stronger than your fear. As this alignment develops, you naturally spend less energy trying to manage appearances, force outcomes, or eliminate uncertainty. You can consciously choose where you invest your energy. And they're saying that is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself in this experience. That freed energy becomes available for living with greater purpose, presence, creativity, contribution, and peace. You stop trying to master life. You begin learning how to participate in it wisely. The highest expression of healthy control is not making life obey your plans. It is becoming the kind of person who can meet whatever life brings with clarity, integrity, humility, adaptability, courage, compassion, and trust. Healthy control is no longer about managing the world. It becomes the quiet discipline of consistently becoming the person your values call you to be. What needs to be done? Align your thoughts, emotions, values, and actions. Let your values become more stable than your circumstances. Focus on becoming the kind of person who can meet life well, rather than trying to make life predictable. And they want me to leave you with this and return to this question often. Am I trying to control life, or am I becoming someone who can wisely live in it? All right, babies, that's all I have for part 3. That is going to bring our series on control to a close. Hopefully you found this insightful. And I will be back on Sunday with the next topic. So if you're curious what that will be, take a look in the posts. You'll see what it is, along with a song that I'm enjoying for the week. My little offering to you all. All right. Take care of yourselves, beautiful beings. And until next time, bye.